Music.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Eternal Kingdom Podcast. You're here with Bianca and Ricardo. Hello.
Hello.
How is your how's your week?
It was a good week.
Yeah. Did you work at all this week? Yeah, you did cuz
I
you
do
work
work.
every
Okay, yeah.
okay, I guess every week. I don't know. What if you have an entire week off?
I do actually.
All right
I'm
then.
going to Louisiana 2 weeks from now.
Yeah?
I think is it 2 weeks, a week or 2 weeks from now. A little bit over a week, and then I did took off 2 days. So I'm gonna be. What is that? A
What are you doing?
week?
Are you school? Is it the school thing?
Yeah. Well, I'm going with our pastor to Louisiana to take some classes that they're offering over there. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Okay. So so that's my week off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways. All right, guys. We are here and we're going to be
How was your week?
Oh, mine was good.
Yes.
My the normal.
The normal.
Cataracts.
Yeah. I know you were busy yesterday.
I
'Cause
was.
I texted you. I was like, "Hey, are we still doing this podcast?"
I was so busy. It was just a lot. Like I wasn't doing the normal thing that I
Mhm.
normally do, which is like working up my patients. I
Yeah.
was actually working with the doctor that day.
Okay.
So I was doing something different. But yeah, I had no break. Like it was just like back to back patients. Anyways, that was my that was my week. Um yeah. So today's podcast we are going to be talking about um well the parable
Of the sheep
of the sheep, yeah.
and why we're compared
Mm-hmm.
to the sheep.
Yeah.
So
That's good. Yeah. So originally the title was going to be The Sheep Hear My Voice. But I feel like the more we got into it, the more we kept realizing
it's like an umbrella of stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
It has there's just way too much into it.
Yes. Yeah.
Than just the sheep hear the sheep hear the heap the sheep
Sheep here.
the sheep hear my voice. So that's our title. It's really just like the parable of the sheeps and how God compares us to
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, we're gonna go through some of the stuff that in the natural
Mm-hmm.
the sheep does and all the facts that
Mm-hmm.
about them, and then it just kind of translate to the spiritual side of it.
Yeah.
So and it's pretty cool once we kind of because we were studying together beforehand as well, and it's kind of we're like every 5 minutes we're like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just kept going and we're like, man, this podcast is gonna be 5 hours long. I was like, okay, yeah, no. But
First we're gonna so Carmen is on, and
I can't see my comments.
oh well, I can see my comments.
It's
And then
not
Jose, obviously our drummer, funny guy,
Oh my god, here we go.
funny guy. So shout out to Jose.
Shout out to Jose.
He's a funny dude. So
I think if you go back to like every podcast,
have I given a shout out to?
yes,
Uh,
every single
have
time.
I say he's a funny guy?
Yes, every single time.
Okay.
Funny guy. I feel like we can put like the clips together and all you hear is like funny guy, funny guy, funny guy.
Okay. Well, I guess I feel one more. I guess I'll try next podcast.
You know, change it up a bit.
Yeah, change it up a bit. Well, go ahead and comment. Obviously we say this every time, but we do like interactions, and it just kind of keeps it, keeps you part of it, and that's what we want. The like, subscribe, share, It helps us. It helps get
Press
this
the bell
podcast out.
button.
Press the bell button just so you can get a notification when
We are
we're on.
definitely
Uh,
YouTubers now.
talking about talking about that, we are just like before we go into, we do kind of announcements towards the end. So just because we have a couple things to announce. So, but beforehand, we do want to. I feel like I want to apologize. We there's something that came up to or didn't came up today. There's just some schedule conflicts today, and we still have to do the podcast at 11 now
Yeah.
instead of 5. But starting June, our next podcast, we're going to start it at
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. We said
Yeah.
so 5 o'clock. So that's gonna be our next podcast, and we'll keep you
Up to
updated
date,
to
yeah.
that. So let's just get started with this. I feel like there's obviously plenty to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and that's, I mean, as we go, it's kind of cool how it all kind of intertwined with what we have already said before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna leave the floor to you. Go ahead and
So, I guess the first thing we gotta really look into is really like just a sheep in general.
mhm.
Like, what is their characteristics?
Right.
So a sheep is hold on. I have like so many notes here. It's bad. So a sheep, you know, generally they lack not protection, but they're defenseless. Um they're gentle, they're easily led, they're not strong. They can't search for their own water. They can't search for their own food. So like a sheep in general is just very like
It's very dependent.
dependent
Yes.
on a shepherd.
shepherd.
On a shepherd.
Right.
And so and then we're also going to touch a little bit on goats today
Yes,
as well.
we'll do that too.
So you want to kind of just talk about like the goats or whatever, the characteristics? You want to start with just characteristics of a sheep and a goat?
Yeah, I want to start with the character. I think the sheep, right? We have to watch out for goats. Obviously, that's an obvious thing.
Mhm.
But I think the sheep, it amazed me as to how he compares us to the sheep, and what does the sheep has or doesn't have that makes us dependent upon the shepherd ultimately, right? And then just as you said, the sheep does not have a defense system, and I think we do put a Bible verse, which is Matthew
Matthew.
9:36. I don't know if you have it pulled up.
Yeah, I have it. Hold on, give me
So
a
if you want to read that,
You said it was Matthew
Matthew 9, verse 36.
9:36. It says here, Matthew 9:36, when he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd.
Right. So that just that, right, explains that the not being with a shepherd or not having a shepherd, right, leaves us helpless, leaves us, basically defenseless
Yeah.
out there in the world.
And so does the sheeps in general. Like,
Yes.
it's not just, and it intertwines to us, like, how just exactly what you said. Like, we as sheep, we need to have our shepherd, and our shepherd is clearly God. Like, he
Right.
needs to be able to lead us and guide us into this world, and that's exactly what he does with the Bible. That's where we'll find all our guidance.
Yeah, Jesus is our perfect shepherd, right?
Mhm.
Jesus is the one that we follow and that we look up to and that we basically depend upon, right?
Mhm.
And all that because of what he did at the cross
Yeah.
of Calvary. So
Yeah. And the only way we'll be able to even get there and have guidance and stuff like is we have to go to him.
yes,
There's no other way to seek guidance or have is through him, Anyways. There's also a verse, there's also something that's here that says about sheep is they follow. They have a tendency of following a shepherd.
yes,
Like, they know his voice.
mm-hmm.
And they know his voice. Like it could be like the most minimal, like, hey,
It's the sound.
it's a sound.
Yes.
And an actual like shepherd, like they make these, like we watched a video and they make these like weird noises. It's
Yeah.
like a, I don't
Yeah.
know, like they make these
It's different amongst them. Yeah.
yes. But then if I were to do those noises, they would totally ignore me. They just know his voice.
His voice, yeah, and it's cool to see it in real life, which I haven't done, but we did saw a video of it,
Mm-hmm.
and they put different strangers to, obviously they have the sheeps out there in the field, and they put different shepherd or strangers to make noise or to call them and stuff,
And you see in that video, it's like they don't
they
do
ignore it.
nothing.
They don't even.
They
Yeah.
just keep eating their grass
Yeah.
or whatever. They literally don't do
And they
anything.
went through like 3 or 4 strangers and nothing.
And as soon as that shepherd
Other-
came,
yes.
like it was like they all like
their heads
flock.
like start popping up and then
Yes.
just start running to the shepherd.
yes.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And that there's also a Bible verse about that where it says on John 10:27, it says, "My sheep hear my voice. I know them and they follow me."
Yes.
Like I just think it's so crazy, like how us as shepherds, us as sheep, if we truly like get into his word, if we truly like know his voice, we could be doing something, and as soon as we hear that voice, we're like, okay,
We pay attention to it. We know it.
Exactly.
We recognize it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just I throughout this entire like thing, I've just been amazed at how amazing these sheeps are.
Mhm.
Like yes, they need to depend on the shepherd in a lot of things.
Yes.
In a lot of things, and we'll get into that. But like it's so crazy how they know how they know who to listen to. You know what I mean? They literally could be 5 different shepherds of 3 different like flocks, and as soon as one shepherd, it could be their flock is over here and the shepherd's all the way over here, and then it could be all mixed up, and you're like, okay, you'll probably think like, how do we separate all these sheeps, from each other? Like there's just no way. But it's so crazy how quick, like as soon as they hear his voice, they start
dispersing
into their correct shepherd. And I just think that's just crazy to me, because there's so many distractions in this world.
And it's not that they look at the other sheep and who's that sheep following. They follow the voice. They don't follow the sheep.
Exactly.
So it's not like they're going with the majority, right, or with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
They hear the voice, and on their own they recognize this and they follow the voice instead of the crowd.
Yeah. And I just love that, because it's just like we are sheep or whatever. We're here, right? And there's so many things that could be going on around us.
Yeah.
Like so many distractions in our lives, and if we are not truly, there with God and in our relationship with God, how are we supposed to hear his voice? In that quick moment that God needs to capture your attention is when you need to be like, oh, my shepherd is calling me.
Right.
And like, if you're not there, you can be, and I don't want to jump the gun, because I feel like I'm about to jump the gun and all the way to the very end. But like, we need to be able to like distinguish his voice. And it's such a beautiful moment when you realize, I not too long ago, I think it was on one of the podcasts.
I think it was the previous to that.
The previous to the last podcast?
Yes.
Okay. In that moment, looking at it now, there is a moment in time where God was speaking to me and God was speaking to Ricardo, and I didn't know God was speaking to him. And literally in that moment, I knew God was telling me something.
Yes.
And it was just the craziest thing ever, because one, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I've actually fully like listened, or not listened, but I don't think I've actually fully noticed like in a quick second,
Mhm.
God speaking to me
Yeah.
and telling me to do this. Like, that was just the craziest moment of my
Mhm.
life. I'm right.
Amazed
It's
by it.
I'm amazed till
Yeah.
this. I'm still amazed by it. But it's so crazy because I was such into the word,
Yeah.
and like now it's like
It's easier to.
it's easier to distinguish
Yeah.
his voice, to know like, okay, God's speaking to me, and you know that that's God.
Mhm.
It's not like, oh well, was that God? No, you know that was God.
Right.
Anyways, but it's just so amazing. So that's just
And it wasn't even until after we ended the podcast that we were talking about it, or we were talking about the podcast, and then we didn't even realize, right? And then you said something, and I
yeah.
said something. I'm like,
And we're and then in that
it just
moment
clicked.
it just clicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we started, I don't know, I started crying cuz I was like, wow, like God was literally like
Speaking.
speaking
Yeah.
and telling us like a direction to go into the podcast,
Yeah.
and we literally were both in the same page, like
But we didn't even know like what that was like.
but
That
we
was like
didn't
towards the
know.
beginning,
Yeah, it was towards the beginning,
and
but we didn't know
we didn't
that,
know.
like, God, like I didn't know Ricardo, like God was talking to Ricardo, but in my head I'm literally, this is my thought. My thought was like, okay, God, I understand you want us to go this direction.
Yes.
And I didn't know he was like, well, we need to like I think, God's changing our topic
Yes.
or whatever. And I was like all this was happening and we didn't know till the very end that we were like, hey, this happened or whatever.
Yeah, we're talking about it, and then we're like, oh yeah, me too.
And
Oh.
it was like,
Like
oh,
yeah, like oh,
like
that's
it was a crazy experience. Anyways, so with sheeps, they travel in flocks. The majority of the time they are in flocks together. They just are always together.
Mhm.
But there's very few times well, one will start to
Oh, you're going there.
Oh yeah, I'm going there. 'Cause okay, you want to go skip
No,
to
no, no, no.
No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, stick with it. No, I think that's very important.
um
We're
yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
like occasionally, one will wander off
Yes.
sometimes, and that happens. Like sometimes, sheep, they wander off, or they get a little rebellious, or and so when they do that, that's when they become the most vulnerable,
Yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I feel like you're about to say
No,
something. You're
no.
like,
Go ahead.
so, and then when that happens, what was I saying? I forgot. Oh, they become the most
The most vulnerable.
the most
Yeah.
vulnerable, because their prey is usually wolves. Majority of the time their prey is wolves. So when sheeps are together and one leads away, that's when the wolves come and attack. And
There's reasons for that.
yes, there is. So the reason is because should I get into it? The reason is
Yeah, we can get into it. And one thing that when we were watching that video is that the sheep looks back one more time and
oh, I'm not there yet.
go ahead.
But you can get into
No,
it.
no, go ahead.
No, go
I just
ahead.
I just want just it's just a very it's just a detail of how when they fall apart of the flock, they kind of look back and basically see what they're one last time
What they're leaving.
what they're leaving,
Mhm.
you know. But you were right, so that they're most vulnerable and the wolves go to attack them, and go right ahead with that. I think you're
Yeah, so when that happens, wolves, they actually don't attack a flock. First things first. They don't, because when there's a flock, majority of the time there's a shepherd. And so wolves do not, they can sense or they can smell
yeah.
human, and wolves are scared of humans. I I don't I've this first time I've ever heard of that. I would have thought, like, people would be scared of wolves 'cause, but it's actually that wolves are scared of humans.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of just linger around, just waiting around until that one little lamb or sheep goes
Falls
out,
astray.
falls astray. And so it's kind of like how the enemy works. The enemy doesn't attack us. The enemy waits for you to get astray,
Mm-hmm.
to you know, to essentially to just get
To fall away
astray,
from
to
the
fall
flock,
away, yes,
and most importantly, the shepherd.
the shepherd, which is,
Yes.
we all know the shepherd is God. So essentially, he's waiting for you to make a mistake. He's waiting for you to get lazy and stop praying. He's waiting for you to stop reading the Bible. He's waiting for you to make certain decisions in your life. The enemy is waiting for that precise moment to come and attack you. And that's like 1 Peter 5:8. Do you have that verse? I think I have it, but I'm not sure. Sorry guys, 1 Peter 5:8.
1 Peter 5:8. You have the verse pulled up?
No, I don't.
Okay. It says, be sober minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour.
Mm. I just love that because I've realized, like, he is just waiting for you to make a mistake. He's waiting for you to literally just get
wander.
distracted.
Yes.
Just wander around and get distracted for him to attack you. And that's exactly what wolves do to sheep. And that's why I feel like a lot of this stuff is just how God compares us to it. And it's not like he's just gonna go out and about. He's scared of God. Like, he won't attack where.
Yeah. So the wolves, right? They're afraid of humans, and you kind of, or the shepherd, right?
Mhm.
So he kind of, when he tries to go and attack, he smells, like you said, or he senses the presence of the shepherd with the flock, and he quickly just put his head down and just kind of imitate us. Yeah, I'm not trying to attack you, but right, the reason why he doesn't go and attack the flock is because of the flocks are in the presence of the shepherd, which keeps the wolves away.
Mhm.
And I think that goes with what you were saying, that he lingers around and waits till that one of the sheep goes out astray, right? And that's when he attacks, because obviously they're defenseless, they're vulnerable, and they're helpless without a shepherd. So it's important to be in the presence of the shepherd, which is Jesus.
Yeah, because in that moment, God, all he wants to do is protect us. All he wants to do is guide us. He wants to, give us food. He wants to just, cover himself around us. And that's what shepherds do to the sheep. The shepherds put their lives for these sheep. And that's what God does. He put his son,
Yes. Yeah.
for to die for us as sheeps. And it's just amazing to me how somebody could do that, but
He became the great shepherd, right?
Mhm.
And again, that was the whole of through what he did on the cross, right? That he becomes a great shepherd, right? That, like, he makes it possible for us to just simply follow him, right? Not, we don't have to do this or that, or achieve certain things. We just follow his voice, and that's what he wants us to do, follow his voice, because he'll provide everything for us, right? We're defenseless, so he'll provide defense for us. We're thirsty, so he'll provide water for us. We are hungry, so he'll provide truth, the word, right, for us.
Yeah.
He'll provide the food for us.
Talking about that.
Yes.
Sheeps, because they're so, they're defensive and all that stuff. Sheeps actually cannot find their own water.
Correct.
They can't find their own you know food.
Mm-hmm.
So the shepherds,
Even the place to rest,
yes,
which we'll talk about that after, because that's you know.
yeah, but even that, like the sheep, on the sheep, they can't do any of that. So that's why they have to rely so much on the shepherd. And then it actually says, like, after learning about sheeps and stuff like that, um there's a difference between sheep and goats,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll start getting into that. So goats, it's essentially, they all, in certain areas of the world, sheep and goats actually look very, very similar.
Yes.
Very similar. That if you're not a shepherd, you cannot distinguish
Mm-hmm.
which one's a sheep and a goat. However, their characteristics, their character, how they behave and everything is totally different.
Yeah.
A sheep will come to you as when you command them to come. When you call on them, they'll hear your voice and they'll come. The goats won't. The ghosts will just linger around and do their own thing. And another thing to distinguish is that sheep actually find their food on the bottom, and goats actually like to have food at the very top of the plants.
Yes.
So and another thing is um their tail. Their tail.
I didn't even know this either. The goat's tail. What is
Mhm.
it? They're up.
They're up.
Up.
Yes. So a goat's tail is up, and then a sheep's tail is down, essentially, kind of
Yes.
like a dog. And if you realize too, a lot of the times goats like to be up.
Mm-hmm.
They like to be up on top of trees. They like to be, just high. And then goats actually like to have, hold on, pause. I think I mixed it up.
The other way around.
Goats like to have their, up, kind of like, when a dog goes like that
Mhm.
onto you. They kind of like to be up and kind of looking around, especially out in the woods and stuff like that. They eat from the very top of the
Yeah.
trees. And then sheep actually just stay at the very bottom and just look their head down, their tail's always down. And those are, I say that because there's such a symbolic what's that word, symbolic meaning to their posture.
Right.
So, which I'll speak about that in a second, but I wanted to get into I wanted to separate and explain a goat versus a sheep, because as I said, sheep's, they can't find their food, they can't find the water, and they
Right.
depend on the shepherd. And and if they have too much, sheeps can have only a certain amount of some type of mineral. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. Some type of mineral. They can only have a certain amount. Because if they have too much of it, they can kill themselves.
Correct.
And goats, on the other hand, they don't. They don't have to worry about that. Now, sheep depend on their shepherd, and the shepherd needs to be able to provide them the food that they need, to be able to be satisfied, to be able to have the nutrients they need. And that's how we are. Like, for us to be able to have the food, have the nutrients that we need in this life, we need to go to the shepherd. And that's by reading the word of God and God's law, which is the Bible. And for us to be able to live such a righteous life like he asks of us to do, we need to read the Bible, and we need to eat of the food that he gives us. And the more we eat of that food, the more righteous we'll be able to live this life. But there's also times where we also eat a little bit, we get distracted, or we tend to also, like goats, they tend to eat from other things, and they're always eating, they're always
Just trying to make it on their own.
Exactly.
Too. Yeah.
Trying
like
to make
search on their own.
Yeah, search on their own for their own food.
Yes.
And they're constantly like doing that. and they're not being satisfied. And it's the same thing with us, as Christians, as youth or whatever. I want to specify more on the youth, because I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of the times our youth is going from doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that, all just to try and get satisfied. And they're not going to get satisfied, because what they're looking for, what they're searching for, is God.
And it's already provided for, right?
Exactly.
It's not like you say, they're always trying to browse and trying to satisfy whatever, and ultimately, right, the world is trying to give them
Mhm.
what they think they need, right? But they're never satisfied.
Yeah, and just like with sheeps, if they get a little bit too much
Mm-hmm.
of a certain thing, they tend to die.
Yes. Yeah.
If we just get a little too much of this world, of this of distractions, of partying, drinking, anything,
It'll lead you to that.
any sin, sin leads you to death.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just crazy how all of this like comes together. And I was getting to a point, but I forgot.
No. Go ahead.
Do you remember where I was talking about? Anyway, so sin leads to death,
Mhm.
and that's why we need to be careful. And I lost myself. I honestly was getting somewhere and then I forgot. But
One of the things,
uh-huh.
right, that the sheep does, and I noticed it, is that they're as they follow the voice, right, of the shepherd,
Mm-hmm.
they're constantly like
Okay,
with
that's
their
what I was
head
getting
down
to. Yeah.
and tails down, just eating, right, trying to
Mhm.
find food and eating, and they're constantly trying to eat, right? They're constantly trying to find the food wherever the shepherd is leading them.
Mhm.
And I think obviously that's how we should be. We should be always with our head to the Bible, right? With our eyes to the Bible, and
Mhm.
constantly eat, right? As we follow the shepherd, which will keep leading us as
Yeah.
we go into the Bible and study it and read it.
Mhm. And like you said, like when the sheeps are looking down, I was getting to that
Yeah.
point where it symbolizes what it symbolizes, because a lot of times like the way you look at them, it's like they're in such their posture is in such
Yes.
humbleness, and 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 you can realize in as sheeps versus goats. Goats are very like wandering around also. They kind of just do whatever they can kind of do for themselves. They eat all from the top of the things. They're very self
Yeah.
self-righteous.
Just like that.
So they it just takes us back to the podcast of episode 4, where we're kind of talking about humbleness and pride, and sheeps actually are very just the way their posture, how they hold themselves, how they constantly are looking for the shepherd for food, for water, is just so humble, so
It's the meekness of it.
yes,
Yes.
thank you. That's the word I was looking for. So meekness. And so and goats are just
Prideful.
prideful. Yeah. So that's where I was kind of getting to with like the goats versus the sheeps, is
Mhm.
how about that. They're just total opposite. Like you can be in one place, and if you can't recognize a sheep versus a goat because
Mhm.
you're not a shepherd, then it's just the same thing as here in this world. Is like, we could be all at church, and there could be sheeps and there could be goats, and sometimes there's certain people that won't be able to recognize the difference between a sheep and a goat. But that's where, if you read the Bible, if you pray, if you have connection with God, he will have discernment. He will give you discernment, and you'll be able to distinguish the two.
Yeah, and one of the things, right, is that he's always speaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just like the shepherd, he like you said before, he makes these certain sounds, and it's isn't a constantly sound, right? He kind of constantly makes a sound as he keeps walking, right? And the sheep just just walks with him, just
Yeah.
follows him,
Just
follows the
follows.
sound
Mhm.
of that voice. And so he's always speaking. And one of the things that we have to recognize is that the more we eat right from the truth or from the word of God, the more we get into it, the easier, right?
Yes.
The more recognize
Recognizable.
there you go, that one.
Mhm.
We can hear his voice, So
I can't see any comments. Any comments? Is anybody on? Just saying. um.
one of the I know we talk about humility and stuff. One of the things that also that the shepherd leads the sheep to
Mhm.
is a place to rest.
Mhm.
And I think we can get into that, how the sheep doesn't know, just as they depend upon the shepherd to find the nutrients, the water, right? They also depend on him to to find rest, to find good pasture. And
There,
so
there's a verse about
there is
that.
a verse about that.
It's Psalms
Psalms 23, right?
21 through 4, right?
Yes.
It says here, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake.
Man, if you keep reading that, that's like getting into another. It also says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And so, uh, before I get into that, I want to talk about how the sheep, right, the shepherd knows where, how to find rest, right? And man, we said something, and I don't know if I have it on my notes, but we said something about how the sheep can only rest in green pastures. And he's the one that provides that pastures for you so you can rest. I think it goes to the giving him all the burden to him, and
Okay,
he'll make you
yes,
rest.
yes. That is true.
So
I think we did talk about that.
yes,
How and oh, we did. Okay, so sheeps in general, just
and I look up the verse while you're
yeah, so
talking.
sheeps in general, they're not made to be like horses or, or donkeys or stuff like that where you can give them things to carry and be able to they're not. They're zero. Zero strength. But that's exactly what God wants us to do in our lives. He does not want us to carry burdens. He wants you to cast his burdens onto him. And that's just another thing that I forgot to mention is just how the shepherd wants you to cast his burdens on you, and just how the shepherd also gives you food and gives you water and stuff like that. He wants you to drink of that water.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
wants you to drink of that water. And that takes me back to the Samaritan woman, how he literally says, drink from this water and
You will never
thirst again. Like, God wants our shepherd. If I'm gonna have to put it that way. Our shepherd wants to provide us water, wants to provide us food, wants to provide us comfort, wants to provide us a place where we may lay down and rest at his feet. Like, he just wants so, like, the best for us. And like it's so hard for us to I don't know, like every single time I'm like doing these things, I realize how much love he has for us and how much he wants to just really just wants the best for us. I've never realized how yes, okay, we're human. Like
yeah.
I literally okay, I understand God, like the enemy's here, kill, destroy. I don't know,
And
I
the
have it
rest.
all messed up. But anyways, but like I've never I've never realized how much like God just wants the best for us.
You can find that everywhere too
No,
in the Bible. It's like no, like I mean, everyone in the Bible, you can
Mhm.
find how even since the beginning, he always has a plan, right? Provided, because he knows that we're helpless. I mean, he knows that we can't do anything
Exactly why he
without him.
and it's just so it's so vivid on like why he compares us to sheeps
Yeah,
now. Like I understand it. It's like, dude, like everything we do in life is like if we don't do it with God, like, leading us, it's like what's the point? Like you're literally just doing either one more harm to yourself or you're really just going around in circles and really not getting anywhere.
yeah, and that's why he's very big on us depending on him,
Mhm.
right? I think in multiple times throughout the Bible, he encourages people to, don't lean into your own understanding, right? Uh, his path is greater, right? His path is beyond what you can imagine, and so we should always try to depend on him, or always depend on him, because he'll he knows, right? He knows that if we depend on us, it's just destruction. It's gonna be a destruction to our life. It's gonna be a chaos,
Yeah.
and so that's why we need to depend on him. And so, following what you were saying, Matthew 11:29, no 28, it says, "Come to me, all who are labor and heavy, and I will give you rest." Right?
Yeah. There's also another one, Matthew 55:22,
Yes.
I believe it is. Mm, Matthew or Psalms?
I think it was Psalms. I think he gave me that.
I was like, wait, hold on. It says, cast your burden on the Lord and
Yeah.
he will sustain you and he will never permit the righteous to be moved. It's just so crazy. I can't help but just be in so awe of him. And like, what's also crazy to me is like, I know everybody knows the parable of the lost sheep.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man, let's not get started. That is just I cry all the time. And can I get into it? I'm gonna get into
You
it.
should get into it.
It
I
says
think that's very important.
the parable of the lost sheep. I'm gonna read it to you guys all. I'm gonna start from verse 4. It says, "What man of you, having 100 sheep, if he has lost one of them, does not leave the 99 in the open country and go after the one that is lost until he finds it?" Until he finds it.
So it's not like he gives up.
No, he goes out and then he finds it.
Yeah. That's why important, right? The sheeps are, so it's the souls, right, that he's looking for. It's the souls that he longs for. And he goes out, and it's not that he goes out and he's like, "Oh, wait till I find this lost sheep," like he's gonna learn today.
Yes, no.
He goes, and then he sees the sheep, who he's glad that obviously is still alive, you know, and he goes to the sheep, and what he does is he comes close and he comforts them,
Mhm.
right? And a lot of times we, right, as Christians, we go astray, right? At some point we may do stuff, we may rebel, and or we may just become lost, away from him, and it's not that he gives up. He goes and find us, and he takes us in, and even if we're hurt, he'll even pick us up on his shoulder,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and just carry us back to his flock.
Yeah, that's like verse 5. And when he has found it, he lays it on his shoulders, rejoicing.
Yes, rejoicing,
Mhm.
right, because he has found that sheep which he loves, right? I mean, think about it. No, one lost sheep is so important to him, right? It's not that the 99 is not important. It's
Mhm.
that just one single sheep is so important that he takes the time to go out and find them. I mean, the journey that the shepherd has to go through to find the sheep, you know, and he still does, because he
Mhm.
cares for us. And you know, we you can reflect, right, all the times that in your life you may have
Led astray.
led astray, fallen away, right? And then you may have think that, oh, if I go back to God, or he's gonna be mad, or God is mad and stuff. But Jesus is so he's so humble and meek, and he loves us very much that he doesn't come with a staff of judgment and say, hey, you know, you
Mhm.
evil one, what are you doing around here? uh Even in the greatest evil that we have done, right? And that's what the world doesn't understand. It's like, oh, this guy just killed two people, and you think Jesus? Yes, because that's the soul, right? And no matter what, he goes out there, and he goes out there in love, right? And he rescues them, and that's what he does, because he wants them with him in his presence, and he forgives them, and the flock doesn't push them away. The flocks receive them as well, you know. So that's why they
Yeah.
say, that's why it says that heaven rejoice when the sheep comes into his kingdom. And it's honestly his love for us that, and you question, right? Whenever you're in that situation, you question, you're like, why are you even getting me? You know, why are you even rescuing me if
Mhm.
all I've done is literally evil against you, right? And he said, it's okay. You know, I've already paid the price at the cross, and so I will take you in because I know you're hurt. Take you in because I know you're injured, and I know that without me, you'll die. And so even if we think that we can depend on us, he still goes and comfort us and be like, no, no, that's not the way. You know, you have to depend on me. It's not that it's not that uh uh it's he wants you to depend on him because he knows that's it's best for you.
Mhm.
You know, and showing, and that's what we need to do as Christian as well, right? Showing love to those lost sheep, because remember, you're not you're not getting those sheep for the sake of you. You're getting those sheep for the sake of the one who died for them and who loves them. And so why would we go to out there in the world and right? This is not to not preach repentance, but this is not to push people away from knowing the good shepherd, right? This is about showing the love of Christ to that soul that is astray, so that soul can be, so that we can rejoice, right, together for that lost soul that was just brought back to life. When you go astray, all it leads is to death. And then when you go back to Christ, right, he gives you eternal life. And so I you can go. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
keep
like
going.
so I get so amazed as to how we don't understand the love of God. I mean, in our finite mind, I don't think we're able to comprehend truly the fullest of how great the love of God is.
I feel like we just have like a drop.
It just
Just
just a
one
tiny
little
bit.
drop of his love, and even that
Even
for
that is
us
still amazing.
is still amazing.
Yes, but I don't think we'll get to the depth of how much He loves us.
Mhm.
You know, and and you know, even that, you know, we bring up questions like we question. It's like, okay, why are you rescuing me, right? And he doesn't answer back. Well, why did you fall astray, right?
No. Mm-mm.
He doesn't come up with these uh questions to you, because it's there's no excuse. He's a great shepherd, and he doesn't come up with this question. He just gives you love, and that's what makes the sheep, right, the lost souls, go to him, is through love. That's what he wants us to do, is to love. And there's such a great power, right, that love has, that the love of Christ has over people. For some reason, you show them love and they just come back, right? Instead of being very pushy about it.
Well, that's what everybody's missing. That's what everybody's searching for. They're just searching for that great love that Jesus has to offer, that God has to offer. Listen, he offers it to every single person every single day. Like, he really just wants you to, like, just to just to have a glimpse of that love. Like, that's what all these people out here are searching for. Like, all these people that don't know of God, like, they do all these things, and they justify it for so many things.
Yes.
But in reality, all you need is his love. All you need, all you want, and all you desire, God, that's what they're missing, is just the love of God. And I can't. I I've realized that every single thing that we've been, all these podcasts, all these, like, little things that we've been studying,
Yeah.
they all revolve around God's heart and his love
Yes.
for each and one of us. All of it. And I'm not even gonna get to that because I just feel like I'm just gonna start crying like a crazy person here. But the only way, there's also the only way, I'm gonna switch it up here. A shepherd, when a shepherd is with its flock and stuff like that at nighttime, in order for a shepherd to protect its flock, is for that to go through they do like a,
are you talking about the stones?
yeah, the stones.
Yeah. So they do like a fence.
Like,
would you
yeah, like
call it?
essentially like a fence,
Yeah.
a fence of rocks. And he gets all his sheeps inside there, and they're all in there squished up together, and there's just one little opening, and in that opening the shepherd will sit right there. And it's just a reminder it's just a reminder of the fact that the only way through to eternal kingdom is through Christ. And the only way the only way to get through there is through Christ. And there's like a Bible verse about it. It's John 10:7, right? It says, "Therefore Jesus said again, verily truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who have come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep have not listened to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture." Like, it's so beautiful to know that all we have to do is just come to Jesus. And we'll find pasture. We'll find a place to sleep. We'll find a place to rest. And that God will provide us food. And everything else will just fall into place. And it's just crazy because that's all we need. In this life, that's all we need, is to just go to him and just let him lead you. And anyways, let me just keep going. They'll come in and go out and find pasture. The thieves come only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to full.
It's all good things.
All the time.
All the time.
That's all he wants, is just for us to just be led by him. And I just can't help but not grasp and understand. I was there when I was younger, but I feel like we we've I don't know, we go through this stage of looking for other things, or trying to find what we really just have in front of us, which is God. And I just, now that I'm here, now that I know, it's just I can't help but not understand why some people reject him, and why some people reject him when all he wants is the best for us. Oh my god. Wow. But I just don't understand, and I can't grasp, like, why, just why. Because he just wants the best for you guys. And sometimes I just want to take these youth and just be like, what's going on? Like, it's just so amazing. But
You're right there.
I know. I can't.
I feel like, I mean, I don't even want to.
It's just, there's nothing else to say.
No.
It's
No.
just, God really just wants you. He just really wants to guide you. He really just wants you to just be there with him, and just know that even though situations come, even though, yeah, you plan out this life for yourself, but at the end of the day, this isn't your life. You're here to for God to use you, and for God to use you to reach out to other sheeps, other lost sheeps. And that's the main reason that you're here in this life. You plan so much. I want to be a lawyer. I want to have a family. I want to have a wife. I want to have everything. And in reality, the main reason that we're here is to just do God's will, so that everything can play out, and so that we can have eternal life with him.
He is our goal.
Yeah.
He's the one that we look forward to.
He's our prize.
He's our prize, and it comes down to, it's all about him. Ultimately, it's all about him, and it should be about him. And I'm glad it's all about him. I don't even want to add anything to that. I mean, that's just
Yeah, I don't know.
so.
Anyways, I really hope, I really hope you guys share this message, share this podcast, because when it comes down to it, it's not about, just watching me and Ricardo. It's really just being able to reach people who may not be able to come to church, who may not be able, don't have transportation, whatever the case is. The main goal is to really just be able to share the good news. And we're really coming down to the very end, guys. Like, Jesus is coming, and this is the time that we need to be more open, more atrevidos, boldly for God. I used to be in this they youth back in the old days, and the youth name was Rebels for Christ. And I know it sounds so like, what?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, we need to go out there and spread the good news to everybody who doesn't know. know of God. And this is nothing to boast us. This is nothing to do with, hey, let's just do this podcast because we want to do no, this is just to be able to share the news in a different way. And I just pray that you guys share this. I pray that you guys learn. I pray that God is the one speaking through us at all times. And I pray, Lord, that you guys be able to receive this message. And I just really want this to be so God centered and at all things. But I just really hope you guys enjoyed it. I really hope you guys learned something today. And we have some couple announcement coming up,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, we do.
I don't know them.
Judgment House. I wanted to emphasize that. We're actually. I kind of don't want to end the discussion here, but I guess. But it's been an hour and but anyways, Judgment House. We're actually gonna be here filming some videos so we can get the word out there. It's going to be June. It's going to be June. It's going to be June.
In June.
It's going to be June 20. Am I in the correct? Okay. It's going to be June 29, 30, and the 1st of July. June 29, June 30th, and the 1st of July
Okay.
are going to be the Judgment House dates for it. And please spread the word. We're gonna obviously have some flyers and stuff that we're gonna share. But please spread the word. We are it's going to be good. It's going to be great, and it's going to be very impactful. I've never gone through a Judgment House before. And
I have. It's
have
amazing.
you? Yeah. So it's very impactful, I'm sure, and I'm sure it's gonna bless a lot of people. And just invite people that we love the people in church. Invite those who don't know Christ.
Mhm.
This is a great opportunity to minister to them and to evangelize the word of God to them, and for them to see the reality of the world. You never know. I can tell you, like, from experience, that one day you're here and then next thing you know, just gone. You know, and so it's very important for the word of God to be ministered to people and to show Christ to them, because salvation is very important even right now. How the world is. So just make that arrangement for June, just to have a month. All right. So I don't think you have a month planned out for now. Come on. June 29th, 30th, and July 1st. So be here. It's going to be from 6 to 9, June 29th and the 30th, and July the 1st, which is a Saturday, is 5 to 9.
Mhm.
So more of that. Obviously, we're gonna keep you updated. More of that later on. I wanna say again. I can't even say that word. So
Reiterate.
Yeah. So I want to say again, our next podcast is going to be obviously next Friday, but it's going to be at 5 o'clock, so that a lot of you guys that are at work and stuff can join in. So, anything else?
I don't think so.
No. You guys.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Today, parents that are out there watching,
Yes.
today at 4, or we don't have a time yet.
4:30.
4:30, the youth have an outing. We're gonna be seeing Pastor Benny Him.
Correct. In
Orlando. If you have any questions about like details, like where we're gonna meet up, what time, I believe it's gonna be 4:30, but if you want any details about that, let us know. Now. You can ask on the comments, or you can even, if you guys have Ricardo or Amanda's number, reach out to them. They should have like the details. If you don't, go ahead and if you're on our Facebook page, we have our information on there, phone number, address, and everything. You can give us a phone call, and we'll be able to try and get back to you guys. Um, we'll be able to get back to you guys, not try. We will get back to you guys. But the youth is coming out. We have cars to transport, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I have my SUV. I fit like seven
we'll
people
arrange.
back there.
Obviously, we'll arrange whatever it comes. We'll arrange the the transportation. But we encourage you guys to come, and that's pretty much it. I mean,
And
we got
be an expectant.
yes,
Like
yeah.
always be an expectant.
Yeah, always.
Is that the word, expectant?
Expectance. You're asking me. English
Oh.
is my second language. Okay, I'm still trying to.
English is my semi first, but
And that's pretty much it. Expect Jesus. That's what you should expect, right? I know it's a great pastor, great minister, but I mean, it's Jesus that you're going to see.
Yeah.
So expect Jesus.
Expect Jesus.
And that's pretty much it. We're gonna let you guys know further events, but make sure you follow us on Facebook. We do have a website and an app, and we have all the events there. So, and we have all contacts that you can contact us. So make sure you download the app. We actually
get the app, guys.
You received a notification, right?
I did.
Yeah.
So so I was on. We have like some technical difficulties in our sanctuary at the moment.
We'll put it that way.
Yes. And so, anyways, we had to cancel service, and all of a sudden I'm looking at my phone and I just got a random like notification, and I'm like, we have never seen this notification before. What's this? And I clicked on it, and it was our app, and it said service is canceled, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay. So anyways, get the
very
app.
helpful. Get
Yes.
the app, and then and that's pretty much it. It is Memorial Weekend, so please be careful out there. I mean,
Yes.
you don't know how dangerous it gets out there.
I hope it doesn't rain on Monday, but I really want the beach. Anyways.
Okay. So please be
Lord
careful out
Jesus.
there for real. Be watchful and mindful. And that's it for our podcast.
We'll see you guys next Friday.
We'll see you guys next Friday at
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. All right, see you guys.
Bye.